Welcome and good morning, all you future viewers of this live stream. Harani and her team from Buildship are joining in a few. They're getting off another live stream right now. So they are prepping for it and looking forward to diving into one thing that I've been looking forward to sort of utilizing more now that I'm away from FlutterFlow and I have a little more time to myself for building my own products, which is Buildship. We're going to dive into the world of Buildship today, which is going to be super fun because Buildship allows you to add that layer that FlutterFlow doesn't provide, right? FlutterFlow provides the front end, the visual building, the UI, all of the things that you need logic wise to interact with Firebase, Supabase, or any other backend where you can interact with a database. But the backend, right? Like sending cron jobs or notifications on a time basis or doing things securely like managing payments, not something you want to do in the front end. So we're going to talk about how to implement Lemon Squeezy into your FlutterFlow apps utilizing Buildship's new Lemon Squeezy trigger. So they are coming in a few. I'm going to just give you guys a small update on the No Code UI learning platform. So I am in the process of both building the platform, but also like coming up with content for the platform. And I'm getting some feedback from some early beta users, which is really fun. And I'm sending invites out to both of you, Joseph and Kareem. So thanks for joining. You guys will get them. I'm just trying to finish like one more content piece before I send it. But one of the things I'm building is just like an app from scratch. I feel like so many people come to FlutterFlow and they don't know how to actually get started. FlutterFlow is an incredibly complicated tool. I'm not going to say complicated. I'm going to say complex. It's an extremely complex tool. Complexity does not have to be confusing. Complicated is, but complexity does not have to be confusing. You can provide some simplicity in the complexity. And I think FlutterFlow does a decent job of that. But for people new to no code or new to visual development in general, it can be a little overwhelming. So I'm going to cover all the basics like setting up auth, connecting Firebase, creating UI, connecting UI, creating documents in FlutterFlow, and then seeing them in Flutter in your app, all sorts of fun stuff. So I'm really looking forward to that. And we also had like a ton of updates from Google I/O this week and ChatGPT 4.0, I guess. So I think if we have some extra time at the end, Harani will hopefully walk us through some of that stuff because Buildship has already integrated the new ChatGPT integrations, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to do just a short run through of what is possible. And actually, just, you know what? I'm going to share what I have so far, and you guys can give me feedback in the comments on this platform because I want to know what kind of content is beneficial to y'all who have built, you guys are sort of advanced users of FlutterFlow. So talk to me about what you want to know in a more tutorial based system. Okay, so we're going to log in here. All right. No. So I do have Google hooked up, but not Apple. For some reason, Apple is just giving me some trouble. So, but on the homepage, so we have platform updates. I'm thinking about doing some sort of community engagement here where you can get updates of new courses. New courses or lessons published. You're able to subscribe to courses or sort of enroll in courses here. So we have a few coming soon. I'm trying to get this getting started and FlutterFlow 101 to a point that makes sense, that they're basically complete. So these things are, you're able to sort of walk through these courses, track your progress. You can rate the course at the end. I'm able to edit the course and everything. You can also submit feedback to me. So I just utilized sort of FlutterFlow's flow for support tickets, which was fun. But these courses, right? Each consists of a number of lessons, and each lesson is just essentially, for now, YouTube video. Uh, because I'm the free ones I'm going to publish on YouTube as well, so that I can get some better SEO. That's my plan. But the platform itself provides you with the ability to sort of gamify it a little bit and keep track of any, I don't know, medals or certificates that we give out at some point. Because one thing that we run into so often, even in the experts program at FlutterFlow, is capabilities. There's so much, and so many people are new to FlutterFlow. Um, we don't have proven capabilities of delivering products to clients. So part of this learning platform will be an accreditation, something in and of itself. So the boot camp that I run and some of the courses, they will have uh, areas where you can actually test your knowledge, objectively test your knowledge, and then also creatively test your knowledge, right? Because creating UI and design, there are things that are scientific and that are objective, like alignment, spacing, information hierarchy. But design aesthetic is sort of, it's a niche that is not, that cannot always be taught. It can be learned, though. It can be learned. So I learned design over a five to 6 year period, just looking at other really good design and then practicing that. So uh, yeah, when I say it can't be taught, I mean it can be, but it's just a little harder than teaching you how to drag and drop elements onto a page and then hooking those elements up to the back end and viewing the data. So that's objective. Design is not so. uh, you can have 10 people do it, and two of them can do it great and eight of them can do it pretty ugly. So, but we have lessons, we have the ability to sort of navigate the lessons, and we also have quizzes. So you have the ability to sort of test your knowledge, and then review results. I'm also creating some assignments. So I think I have an assignment on the, let's see, intro to design thinking. I think this one's an assignment. So let's see if this one. Yeah. So you will get any examples, right, that I attach. Right. This is going to be a Figma link where you have access to, hopefully this will work. Yeah. You have access to the Figma file that you can duplicate then and you can utilize for the project itself. And then you can, well, I'll have a little more explainer to help, you know, tell you what the assignment should be. And then you can sort of upload it. Hey, that's not what I have here. Oh, yeah, that's why, because this is complete. But when it's not complete, you will have the ability to actually uh, submit the assignment via a link. And then I will be able to grade it and leave notes for you. So giving feedback. So again, some of that uh, sometimes when we're freelancers or we're agencies, we're trying to learn a new skill, we do it in a dark place, not a dark place, but you do it solo, right? If you don't join a boot camp or you don't join a community, you just do it all by yourself and you just hope things work, right? And I think that there needs to be a in between where you can do things and get feedback, either from a community or from someone like myself, uh, that can help you learn and grow. So many people reach out for coaching or help on personal projects that I don't have time for. So I'm hoping that this platform will empower more users to become talented, equipped, and have the ability to give the feedback, give the coaching expertise, and have the basis for knowledge. So a lot of these tutorials are longer than I thought, right? Like I was thinking like, oh, I could just do like a quick overview of FlutterFlow and building. And I find myself explaining a lot of concepts in them. So getting down into uh, longer explanations of why I do certain things. So I hope that that is helpful. And Harini just joined. So I will turn her on and then turn off my screen share. Thank you so much. Sorry, I was uh, showing off the No Code UI platform, which I will implement what we learned today into that platform so that I can actually sell some courses eventually. So that is my goal. But yeah,
Yeah,
it'll be fun.
great. Thanks for having me here. And super excited to actually see the course. I could definitely use the design-based learning course for sure.
It's all good. I love teaching design. It is like one of my favorite things because it brings so much value. Like we don't we don't think of design like that. Like I mean, it's amazing to me. I'm blown away by how much success some of the clients that we work with have because of just, I mean, maybe it's more than design, right? FlutterFlow, it's more than design. It's not like FlutterFlow is maybe beautiful, functional, but there's a lot of power behind it. Like the developers did such an amazing job implementing everything, building it out. Buildship's the same way. It's like you have a lot of functionality there, but if it's not presented in a beautiful way, nobody really wants to stick around. I mean, we live in 2024. Like we
Yeah,
have other tools, right? So, but it's not only like product design, but like even some of the e-commerce stores we've redesigned, dude, they just go off after a redesign. I'm like, what in the world? Like, I don't get this, but I do get it because I'm the user that will leave a site if it's ugly, or not functional or dated. So, yeah,
yeah. I think, yeah, totally agree that the user experience is what matters for like people to stick around. So yeah,
yep, yep,
all right, cool. So we are building a bunch of cool things today. So
yeah,
I don't know how many of you are familiar with Buildship. Would it be useful if I give a quick intro?
that would be awesome. I
All
would love
right.
that.
Great. So, Buildship, some of you might be familiar with. It's a great platform that is taking care of backend, and it works really well with FlutterFlow. So it's a visual low-code backend building platform that lets you build AI workflows, backend tasks, cloud jobs, anything that you typically want to take care of in the backend. We'll go through some of the use cases and things like that shortly. And specifically, I think for the course you're building, Andrew, what will be useful is to discuss about the subscription, right? Like how you're going to handle that, especially with FlutterFlow's subscription using Lemon Squeezy, something people, typically people use Stripe, or we
Yep.
also support that. And Lemon Squeezy is another alternative that is emerging to be quite popular.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I have a lot of creatives on the design side. They're not building FlutterFlow, but they are using Lemon Squeezy. And when I saw that, I was like, you know what? I mean, FlutterFlow doesn't really have Stripe subscriptions yet either, so I would have to do a custom something. So I was like, what if I just tried? I don't know. What if I just tried Lemon Squeezy? And they tailor their e-commerce solution to course material stuff like that, or creative materials like this. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, I'll try it out.
All
So I'm
right.
excited.
Cool. So yeah, I mean, I could give a quick background of what we are going to build today, right? So, obviously, feel free to jump in. We can build this collaboratively, but we prepare like a small, not so well designed, quick app that has on FlutterFlow side a bunch of buttons where you can click. Imagine like someone is having an app where you can subscribe and look at paid content. And then on Buildship side, we have a few template workflows for Lemon Squeezy with in terms of like subscription created, cancellation, so you can build your flows of what you want to do. We'll start with the base template, and obviously, on both sides, you can expand it as you want. So yeah, that's kind of what we're going to do today. Um, do you want to share anything before we kick it off?
No, I'm really excited because yeah, it's like I gave sort of an intro to Buildship earlier, where it's just like it's the back end. So there's multiple things that happen that need to happen securely that FlutterFlow just doesn't handle. Like it's just not that's not what they're trying to solve. So this like interacting with Firebase as well is something every FlutterFlow builder needs, right? Either Supabase or Firebase. So
Yeah,
interacting with a third party, Lemon Squeezy, and then bringing that back into the native database that we're utilizing and feeding that information. It's always a pain, even with Revenue Cat, it's a pain. That's integrated into FlutterFlow, but like sort of a pain still. I still have developers take care of it for me because I don't get it.
yeah.
So your walkthrough is going to be really beneficial for that. How do you make those two things connect and then sort of come to fruition in the FlutterFlow app itself? So
Yes. Awesome. Let's do it. So, FlutterFlow also works really well with backend like Firebase, Superbase, and Buildship also kind of helps you integrate deeply with Firebase. So essentially, you can think of what you do on Buildship is logic blocks that you're kind of connecting together to build your entire backend workflow. So very quickly, before we dive into the app side of things, on Buildship, you effectively get like this playground where you can tell what is the starting point of your workflow and then effectively add step by step a bunch of things. So we have a lot of nodes that connect to popular databases, Superbase, Firebase, Postgres, and whatnot. Very popular tools, AI models. So you can essentially connect to everything that we have here, or you can actually generate a logic block yourself. So if some new AI model launches, you can essentially say, hey, given this input, I want to do this. Here is a sample code, generate a node for me, and it'll do that for you. So that's what we feel is exciting, where obviously we will be expanding the ecosystem of nodes, and also have community contributions coming. But more effectively, anything that is new and you want to do yourself, you're able to do it. And every node logic, for example, here's like a simple log to console log, but every node's logic, you can look into it. I think similar ecosystem as FlutterFlow, where it's all low code. Code is accessible if you want, or if you want to use just the no code style, you can do that. So yeah, that's kind of basics of what Buildship is. But before we start, let's kind of start from scratch, right? So here on FlutterFlow, I have a very simple app. As I said, it has this authentication and sign up page. It has a page where you can look at subscription. It just has a few buttons that show up based on the user's subscription status. So I have this button which will show up if the subscription active on that user's collection is false. And then we have a managed subscription, which comes up, which if the person has paid for the subscription. And then they can enter the pro zone, or like you can think of like the course content only if they are able to see their subscription is active. So this part of the demo, I guess most people are familiar with adding a subscription sign up, right? So this automatically, I like the fact that FlutterFlow automatically creates the collection and everything on the Firestore side. So that part is easy. I think what will be useful is if we go step by step into these flows, right? So yeah, stop me anytime, if you feel like, hey, we need to go deeper into some topic.
I love that. So the subscription active, equals false. So we have that sort of trigger, that condition. That subscription active is coming from the user's collection, right? So that's a field we create in the user collection. Okay, cool.
Exactly, yeah. So here, for example, this one, it has a sign up for course, but as soon as someone signs up for this, there's a simple action flow where it launches a URL. In this case, it's essentially launching the Lemon Squeezy product sign up URL. So here, if I go in, you'll see that it's a URL with a sample store I created. So if I go to Lemon Squeezy, here I have created like a simple product, a test product. And, this is a sample test store, but, it's super easy to set up. I literally signed up only yesterday for this, and I was able to create a product. And then you can decide what is the payment every month. And then you can essentially do a couple of things like what your portal needs to look like and so on. And then once you decide all of that, it gives you this simple store ID, right? So if I go inside this product, let me actually go back. I believe it's inside stores. Yeah, so here you get this store with an ID, and you need to copy this URL, and this is where you are essentially sending your users to for payment. So in your app, if you click, it's just like redirecting to that, right? And then you copy this URL over back here, and I have this URL. And then what you can do is, actually, let me expand this a bit. So you have
We
the
could expand the text field in FlutterFlow.
Oh,
We're
okay.
working on that. We're working on this new set from variable. We have a really fun design. I don't know if it's when it's going to implement, but it's going to be interesting.
You have a lot of designs in the backlog, I guess.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I think what is happening here is, let me just paste this here so that you can see it clearly. So here you have this complete store URL, which you are
Perfect.
getting from Lemon Squeezy side.
Yep.
But then it also allows you to like append all this information that is already available because you have authenticated the user and you already know their email and name, right?
Yep.
So you can give this URL as it is. People can fill their email if they want, but it's more efficient if we pass in these things, right? So it's just a combination text of this, and then the email is coming from the users collection.
Yep.
And then you have this one, which is the name, and then you have the display name that the user has selected.
Yep. I love that.
Cool. So this one basically just launches, right? So, and then let's actually try this out. So if I go back here, log out, and I, just might have to start a new session, I guess. While
Yeah.
that,
Yeah. That's good.
Okay. Well, yeah.
That's such an easy flow. That's really cool. So
yeah. So yeah, I think there are a few things that's completely handled from FlutterFlow to Lemon Squeezy, and then we'll see how from Lemon Squeezy to Buildship it starts to make sense, right? So
perfect.
Imagine this, like when someone clicked this, that API is called, it opens up this kind of a page where you are able to fill these information and make payments. So this is test mode, so I can just add like, all these kind of numbers, and then let's wait for this to load, but you'll see what I mean when I say that once this payment is complete, it triggers a bunch of flows of how you want to handle this. So if I go to Buildship now, we have this subscription created workflow.
Love that.
So you're simply passing the API key from Lemon Squeezy. So if you don't know how to get some information, you can click this information panel. It takes you directly to the API settings and you can grab that information.
Yep.
And then you can essentially store it here, and it's storing it securely in your backend in Google Cloud Secret Manager. So it's not in your front end. And then you're picking one of the events. So if you want this flow to start with subscription created, you pick that and you give your store ID. So store ID was what we saw earlier here. So this is the store ID.
Cool.
And then you can pretty much now do whatever you want. So now that your payment has completed, you want to update the user's collection and say that the subscription status of this person is active, right? So that's what we are doing here. So this is my Lemon Squeezy project, which I've connected to FlutterFlow. And then this is the collection. And then in this filter, I'm doing some basic things like if the email equals the incoming value. So what's good here is that in this trigger, when it's activated, all the information about that user also is passed in, and then you can use that in this filter. So you can say incoming data and attributes and users email, right? And if you're not sure how to do this, you can actually use AI's help. You can say match the email from this JSON or some, like, you can plain English. And also if you clone this template, right? Like if you started with the template, you don't even need to do that. So if you started with this template, all you need to do is just plug in this project ID.
Very cool. Okay. And so it's to note, very important to pass that email, right, from FlutterFlow in the link to Lemon Squeezy, because that's how we're connecting it, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So if we don't do that, if the user uses some other email, it's hard to link that person to this person, right? Maybe, if you want to allow that flexibility, say suppose you're putting the link in a newsletter or Twitter or somewhere else, then it's okay. And then that person's link account gets linked to that email that they paid with. But yeah, in the app experience, you want it to be smooth and without having to go back and forth.
Yep. Okay. Very
Yeah.
nice.
So at this point, it's basically what's doing is updating the user's collection, right? So it's first trying to get the information from email, and then when it gets this information, it's updating the document. Same project, it's updating this document which was retrieved from this collection,
Okay.
and then it's updating a few things. So it's updating the subscription ID because now it has that information because this user has paid it. It's updating the subscription active to true. we are
Nice.
also we are also storing the customer portal URL because it's later useful for when you want to manage the subscription, because now you want to add a button in your app saying managed. You don't want to manually be doing this for that user as well. If they want to like change the credit card or upgrade or downgrade those kind of things, they can easily do that themselves.
I love that. That's amazing. Okay. Yeah,
So
this is sweet.
yeah, yeah. So essentially, this is a very simple workflow which, if this subscription happens, update the document, right?
Yep.
Now, obviously, this is one core thing which you need to have at the bare minimum in your subscription.
Yep.
But you can actually do more things here as well. Like, for example, if you want to also parallelly send an email to that person, or you want to, based on this email, do some research about this user, or send it to your Slack as a message saying, hey,
Yep.
new payment, reach out to them. So those kind of things are possible. I would essentially, like, you can do branch or you can do parallel, and you can move things around. So essentially you can move this like this, and then same parallelly, on Slack, just get a notification that user sign up. It's always nice to see that.
Yeah, this is great. So, and
Yeah,
yeah, I think almost every good checkout experience is sending an email after you subscribed as well. Like, I think that's just
yeah,
necessary. My wife
yeah,
does email marketing. It's amazing to me how important uh, customer lifecycle management is through email. Like, whether it's campaigns, flows, like she makes millions of dollars for her clients just by setting up like a abandoned cart flow or something.
yeah,
Like, it's crazy to me how much money those things bring in. So when you are building a product, implementing those things, although complicated and annoying, are very beneficial to the success of your product. So that's something I want to do with No Code UI, is set up emails when somebody subscribed, when we have new courses, maybe
yeah,
some email reminder. Well, it's gonna be an app as well, so I'll send push notifications, so they'll get all of those, notifications as well. You've subscribed and all this stuff. So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. But this is
yeah,
helpful because for any successful SaaS, you need these things set up. It's like,
yeah,
if you want to be successful, these are things you need. So very
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and I think it's also useful, right? Like, to understand your user better. Say, suppose it's coming from some email that is not a Gmail domain. You can also do like simple Perplexity. We have like Perplexity chat, or like a Google search, or like a Bing search. You can figure out what that company does, and
Yeah. Whoa.
you can reach out to them in a better way. So that's also idea.
That's interesting. Wow. I like that. Reminds me
Yeah,
of the beginning days of FlutterFlow. We had Slack notifications turned on for new subscribers, and then it got
yeah,
too many. But it was cool to sort of research. I would just do it by email. I would scan it myself, be like, "Ooh, what company is this?" And go and
yeah,
search for it. So it's
yeah,
cool that AI
exactly.
can do that for us now.
Yeah. And I think that that's kind of the idea here, right? Like, you have this base template that you got right from cloning. You plugged in
Yep.
your API keys, and you plugged in your project ID, but then you can expand it to any other use case, because starting point is your subscription created. It can lead to so many ideas, right? So that's the thing here. And when you're ready, you basically ship it. And what it does is actually it creates these webhooks on Lemon Squeezy directly. So as you can see, This one is a subscription created webhook. I actually didn't come here and manually add it; automatically adds it here, and then you can also click and see that it was a subscription created. So you can also look at the values and so on. So this is one flow, and
Yeah.
then coming back here. So once this is done, so as I said, like this triggers and makes the subscription active true on your users
Yep.
collection. And then on FlutterFlow side, you have the same value being read here, and it becomes, if it's true, this shows up. And then you're also seeing this section, and then inside this section you have whatever you want to display only for that user.
Yep.
And you can also make the visibility inside this more
Yes. Yeah.
tied to the
100%.
yeah
Yeah, they can get active, or sorry, they can get the ability to activate that course, view the content, all that stuff. It's very nice.
yeah
And that small Boolean in the user collection is just that's great. It's so easy to then showcase stuff to the user in FlutterFlow or not show it to them. So
yeah
very
exactly.
cool.
And then inside your manage subscription, that is where you want to show the customer portal, right?
Yep.
So that's where this second flow comes in, where you on click of this, you're launching the other URL, and this URL is just the customer portal URL that we saved when we were creating the subscription. So it kind of looks like this. Let me try to find another good example that I was trying out earlier. Yeah, so here is one. So the portal creates this. It has
Nice.
the token, signature, everything, right? So
Yep.
you are then able to use it on this side to manage the subscription.
Very
And
nice.
then, and if they do go and manage and cancel it, then the second workflow gets triggered, which is this one. Which is a very basic one here, which says if the event is cancelled, same concept as before, the API key, the store ID. The secret is this secret key is something you can additionally pass to make sure you're the only one who can call the webhook, right? So that's kind of the reason.
Yep. Rawson was just asking about secret keys in the comments. So
Right. Yeah. So if you're not sure about anything, usually we have all the information in this eye icon. So you can learn about it. So this is a concept from Lemon Squeezy and generally signed webhook calls typically. So you can basically put anything here and the same thing will show up here on the webhook side, right? So yeah.
Very nice.
Right, cool. So let me go back here. So here what we're doing is very simply, if someone has canceled the subscription, we are setting their user document again, right?
Yep.
So we are again searching for the user's email document.
And then this filter, so the filters one is just JSON? Sorry, I'm not a code person, but
Yeah, so this is just similar. This is basically the Firestore's way of filtering and getting to your, it's like querying SQL in
yep. Okay.
that kind of concept. So if you're not sure, what you can do is use this and say fill with email, find email field with value and pass that JSON. So if you have like an incoming sample JSON, right, like how your cancellation looks like. So I think you can get like the sample response here, and then you can basically pop that in AI and get it the response. But as I said, like this, if you clone the template, this value is already there. You literally don't need to do anything unless you are saying that you want to change the email fields to something else, right?
Yeah.
What it's doing is this field, this operator, so equal to this value, and the value is basically coming from the incoming trigger, which is the Lemon Squeezy payload, the attribute, and the email. So yeah, so it's essentially like an expression editor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. That always confuses me when I get to that part. I'm like,
Yeah.
how do I get there? What do I want again? So,
Yeah, I think what you can do is we like have some examples, right? I think always some of these developer friendly nodes
Yep.
can be challenging for no coders. That's why we try to provide examples of what
Nice.
filter
Yep.
is and detailed setup blog if you're not sure. So it's like more hand holding. And
Very
we
nice.
also, yeah. Um, so that's one thing. So again, like we are just simply updating that document to say subscription live is false.
Love that.
So yeah, and then effectively on this, you now are back to the sign up, and then this disappears. So
Yep.
yeah, that's kind of the very basic concept here. And then that can be expanded, right? Like you can expand it to say, okay, when this person is canceling, you can send them an email saying, okay, we would love to learn more about what it is. And then so you can add like a email based thing. So we have like send grid, we have resend.
Super.
Yeah, those, that's kind
Um,
of the core idea.
After you check out, so on the Lemon Squeezy page, right,
Mhm.
we are creating the payment. We're associating that payment from Lemon Squeezy to Firebase, right? And then
Yeah.
we can do a bunch of other things. But then is there a way to sort of like what is that post-purchase experience? Do they get navigated back to the application, the FlutterFlow application, or I think in Lemon Squeezy there's like a post-purchase screen or something, and
Yeah.
maybe it's
So
like a,
exactly. So when you do this, you
yep,
can essentially have this link here in the settings, right? Like they have this customer portal experience, they have
love
uh,
that.
product experience. So those kind of things you can easily do directly on Lemon Squeezy. So I think it's yeah, it should all be under this settings with general stores. And when you create the product as well, there is some options there.
Yeah, I think in product creation there's like a post-purchase like success page or something. So what you could do is you could just do a deep link to your FlutterFlow app or
Yeah,
to you know the URL right of your if you're doing a web app it's really easy because it's just URL slash whatever. So
yeah.
yep, dashboard, very nice.
Yeah, let's try it out. I think it takes, yeah, I keep missing the thing. Is there like a trick to this to keep it up and running when you're away?
I utilize the local run now.
Okay.
I build everything in my desktop app and I use local run and I love it. So,
Okay. Yeah.
yep, it keeps things like active for the most part. There are some nuances like recently it's been resetting, every now and then. I don't know, like the FlutterFlow app reloads or something. But beyond that, little caveat, I've been testing stuff all week in local run. So
Okay.
it is yeah, very nice, and it's just really easy to always go back to. You can also test in the emulator on your device. So
Okay.
I'm not much of a developer. I hate setting up dev environments,
Yeah.
and so just being able to do it almost visually. There's some terminal stuff you have to do, but to be able to do that just without much Xcode or terminal experience is really, really beneficial. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
100%. I think, yeah, I really love the way to, also test quickly and this flows. And
yes,
yeah, essentially in this flows, we were also trying a few things before this demo, but um, we didn't get to it. But essentially, you can, when you do navigate to something, you can also fetch content from somewhere else if you want. So you can do API calls if, say, all your data is not on Firestore, or
yeah,
if you want to render some kind of additional thing based on the user, right? Like if you want to show something based on what the user asks,
yeah,
you can do like an API call and then call Buildship workflow to do things, because we have like ability for you to call any AI model, any kind of other places as well. So we have tons of templates for you to check out. And we recently did one FlutterFlow marketplace app as well for AI assistant. So if I go to market,
wow.
yeah, we have been publishing, inspired by
Oh,
your,
you guys have been moving and working. I love it.
yeah, we have like a few cool things lined up as well. But right now we have these two and one more coming, literally today or tomorrow. The
Awesome.
AI assistant. This one is originally inspired by your template. So this one is upgraded version with assistant, AI assistant API from OpenAI.
I'm gonna use it. That's
Yeah,
great. I have a coffee app that I want to have like a assistant barista, an AI assistant barista. Like, hey, my coffee tastes terrible today. This is what it tastes like, and it gives you feedback like, oh, we'll grind finer, or like try a different dose. But it would give you hopefully educated responses, not just, oh yeah, try a different dose. Like, okay, that's pretty obvious, but I'm a pretty advanced coffee connoisseur, so I want something to bounce ideas off of that can help me figure out the problems. So
yeah.
we'll see.
So you can do that. I think this basically these templates are complete apps, right? This has FlutterFlow template and backend template on Buildship, so it's a combo
Wow.
template.
Yeah.
Same for this Notion one, which is like voice notes you can take from a
Oh,
simple app, and then it saves it to Notion with transcription and like summary and classification and so on. So you can change things.
okay. This is awesome. Like that that's awesome. Kaleo has been wondering like, okay, how do we like, you know, processize certain things, like establish processes for our agency and our workflows. And that right there, man, that would be so beneficial. I'm using it. I'm going to use that as well. I'm going to
Yeah,
create this beautiful UI in FlutterFlow, and then I can just make voice notes in Notion and tag Chase and tag people, which is
yeah. Yeah, so yeah, watch out for like the AI assistant, but with streaming
Mhm.
response. I think
Oh yeah,
that's a good one because it uses. There are two ways to do it actually. There's one which that was published in the by the Digital Pro. It has the streaming with custom code, but we have one with Firestore directly. Streaming with real time, and we're thinking about doing it with one with Superbase as well.
that is awesome. Literally awesome, because that's the thing. Like, I had a client reach out to me. They're trying to do sort of a AI assistant like that, and he was like, "Dude, why doesn't Flutterflow provide streaming? Like, blah 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 blah." And it was like, it's not that hard, but it is beneficial to have that just out of the box. Like,
Yeah,
it's such a better user experience than the current wait. Maybe do some conditional. I had an AI chatbot for a little proposal generation tool that I was building last year. And it was just like, okay, if longer than 10 seconds, show this text. If longer than 15 seconds, show this text. And I would just animate in different, like,
yeah,
things on the front end, which has not the way to do it.
yeah,
But having it streaming is just beautiful. So
yeah. I think streaming just makes it appear faster, right? That experience,
yeah,
even though I think the end like full answer is in the same time frame, I guess. But yeah, I think that everybody's so used to that experience that
yeah.
it's normal to have. Yeah, so those templates are going to be super cool. But going back to our idea here, I think I keep missing the timeline for this. But yeah, I think people get the idea, right? Like here are a few ways.
It may be live now. So that
Oh,
test mode, it does say, yeah, you may just have to click that screen to try to get it to sometimes I just click in the middle of the screen, just sort
okay.
of let it update. So
Yeah.
sometimes it takes a while.
Oh,
But
there it
there it is.
is.
There it is.
Cool. So let me try again now. I was using this earlier, so let me just use the same account.
Yeah.
Oops.
You may need to log in.
Oh, maybe I forgot the. Maybe I'll just try again with something else. I don't know if that I'm able to go and check this, but
Yeah.
oh, it keeps. I need to turn off this plugin.
Sometimes they're
Okay.
helpful and sometimes they're not.
But yeah, I
Cool.
think it kind of the reason this shows up like this is because I'm signed into Lemon Squeezy as an account, and if it does, then it actually automatically fills this. That is kind of the problem I was trying to avoid. But if you don't like a typical user would not have this, because they are just logging in. They don't have like a Lemon Squeezy open. And then also another
They're
thing
probably
is,
not. Yeah, they're probably
yeah,
not logged into the same. It may have something to do with the same store as well, something like that.
yeah,
So
yeah. And then the other thing is something to watch out for, which we got tripped when we are trying to do this, is Lemon Squeezy in the custom portal that you want to show. It doesn't work in the test mode. You have to have your store published, only then it shows up that custom portal, because there's some legality, or like only then you can cancel a subscription or something like that. Because we
okay,
are in test mode, you might see some issues around that. But let me just,
nice. Yeah, this is great. This is exactly. I mean, this walkthrough has been very beneficial to me. So I'm looking forward to sort of rewatching this and diving in to coming up with some actual payments. Maybe I'll get a
yeah.
first sale.
Yeah, I'm happy to chat more, because we are also active on Discord, you might have noticed. So if someone wants any help, they can definitely post there, and we can answer questions. And your experience should be fairly much faster than, because I'm trying to explain step by step. All you would have done is clone the template, plug in your details, and it starts working, hopefully.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you can see, if I did this, it should have created a new document somewhere. But if I actually go back here,
Yeah, you got to remember what email you.
yeah. But I think the problem here is with the test store,
Yeah.
and also I having that login. But effectively, what happens here is that your payment comes through. You sign up for the course, and you can come back, and then you'll see those two other buttons, because your thing would have signed up.
Yeah, and you may just need to update it, right? Like it may just be this isn't processing the update. I don't know.
Yeah.
So we had that problem with Revenue Cat just recently. We just launched an AI app for let's see. It was an AI app for jewelry creation, and
Okay.
we only wanted pro users to uh initiate an estimate. And so it was like, okay, push them to Revenue Cat, then push them back. And it was like, okay, it needed to it needs some time to reset the user collection. So
Okay.
we had to do some additional logic to just sort of reset that page with the ability to
Yeah.
of course.
So yeah, what we have noticed is, like, earlier I was trying to test this, but with logged off, and then also using the sign up here, then it works fine. But yeah, I think I noticed that where the button shows up after like a slight delay, maybe it's because it's in this kind of a test mode or something.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true as well.
yeah,
Well, that's super cool. I'm gonna try it out, test it, hopefully today. I
yeah,
have a bunch of meetings. I'm actually gonna do another live stream with a Polish FlutterFlow meetup, so that'll be interesting. But hopefully, I can find some time to dive into this. But
yeah,
okay, let's see.
yeah. You're back to back. You're like a popular YouTuber now. Looks like.
No, I don't know about that. I don't know about popular, but I do this stuff. So we'll see. I'm just coming up. Yesterday I recorded like a build from scratch, uh, event creation app, and I'm gonna try to launch that as the first video. So
Okay.
that'll be fun. It'll just be like, hey, these are all the basic things you need to know in FlutterFlow. You dive in. I think the most powerful thing in FlutterFlow is being able to see live dynamic data, from a designer standpoint. Like, it's cool to build the UI 100%, but to see live data is something you can't do in Figma. You can't do in any of these other, design tools. So
Yeah,
I'm trying to be like, okay. And I'm getting great feedback from beta users about, oh, maybe the course content could be like this. So which
yeah,
always prolongs my recording and, oh, I can't launch this until this is done. So we'll see. But this
yeah.
was great. This was awesome. Rawson was wondering where the deep link is for the redirect. And I'm pretty sure it's in the product page in the Lemon Squeezy account. If you just want to show one of those, let's see. Yeah. Yeah. The redirect is always challenging. We had
think.
we had a Stripe. Yeah, basically we had a Stripe checkout in web before web was offered by FlutterFlow. We had to do custom work on, and there's so much work that let's see.
Yeah, it's here. So you can change the text on the
Nice. Yeah.
after, and then you can change the link as well.
Perfect. Yeah, see, that's amazing. So you could deep link them back to the dashboard of your app, right? Or you could deep link them to, if you have a web app as well, deep link them back to, your domain.com/dashboard or whatever. And I'm sure you could, so like I'm going to sell courses, right? So it will be a course ID that I could attach on there. You can actually grab that. Yeah, you can, because you're going to be passing a parameter into the course details, right? Or you're going to be querying that. I would pass the parameters. So you could just copy and paste that direct URL back into there. So
yeah. So here you can essentially pass in whatever combination you want to pass in, I guess. You'll have different products here, right? I think you can change the product ID and the store and so on.
Yep.
I think there's also like ability for you to have specifically just like payment links, but this is for the subscription, and also you can.
Yep, that's perfect because I feel like the payment subscriptions are harder.
Yeah.
Like I feel like subscriptions are harder. Payment one-time links is like, okay, do this, but do it with, just a single time purchase. You always have access to it. So
Yeah. And then you can, if you want to have like the license based things as well, we have options here. So if it's not the subscription, if you want to do orders, I think this is the payments in the Lemon Squeezy world, payment links, you can do that. Or if you want to workflow for, okay, now this person has done the thing and you want a license key to be created and you give it to them and then they put it in the app and then they are opening up specifically things. So that's another approach.
yeah, cool. Now I have a dozen questions about managing subscriptions. I saw refund in there. I was like, dude, I know that that's going to be a pain in the rear. I'm sure you can just do it from Lemon Squeezy though, so maybe that makes it a little easier. But if you wanted like a custom admin panel, because I'm going to have customer facing or the user facing portal for no code UI, and then I'm going to have a admin portal for myself. It's going to be an instructor portal for an LMS. So I'll be able to view everybody taking the classes or courses, their progress in those courses. I'm going to be able to see their quiz results, give them feedback, communicate with them, view their assignments, grade their assignments, all of this stuff. But also, like, if I could have a list of users and their subscriptions, and then be able to say, okay, this person asked for a refund, whatever, they had a bad user experience or whatever. That's a totally fictitious scenario. It's never going to happen. I'm kidding. But I could like refund it from there. So.
Yeah. And I think you can also, like, if payment fails, you can like, send them a couple of emails in automation, right? Those kind of things. Yeah. I think most people also like forget their credit card expired and, they just waiting to be reactivated, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah. Any other questions? Anything else we want to address?
I don't think from my end. I'll open it up to the audience. I love how Restream just sort of pads our numbers here. I mean, we're up to 217 on Restream, mostly from Twitter. I don't know how many of them are still active, but I hope they are. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, please ask in the chat. We'd love to answer them. Again, I think this is superb, right? Because one of the annoying things in FlutterFlow is just payments in general. And because you're going to do revenue cat. Revenue cat is not a good model for most applications, especially SaaS applications. It has if you're doing sort of an only iOS app or only, native app where you need to manage subscriptions that way, and it's in accordance with Apple's guidelines, like that makes sense. Yes. But for any SaaS, Slack, like Restream, like FlutterFlow, like they're all SaaS. They're not tied to a specific app. Therefore, they don't need to go through that app store subscription model. They don't want to tie it to an Apple ID. I want to be able to manage my subscription on multiple platforms, log in on the web, etc. So this does that. We just covered it. Like you could now run a SaaS through Lemon Squeezy for any app you build in FlutterFlow, which is amazing. This is something that's never been available to FlutterFlow users. Sorry, I mean, like, without a bunch of custom code, like this, without this explanation, and you could do it in Buildship, or you could do it with Stripe, Stripe
Yeah.
subscriptions, but still, it's like it's a bunch of custom stuff you'd have to do, and you have to go through it. So you walking us through this, I think, is extremely beneficial for a lot of users looking to build products on FlutterFlow that are more like SaaS rather than, consumer-based apps that are trying to get ad revenue. So
Yeah.
I think is the best use case for building anything. I think SaaS is the best way. So
Yeah. I think that, I mean, subscription is general hard to set up, right? I think
yeah,
we gave an example now of how to do it, but essentially you can basically do the same thing, same concept, but with the Stripe webhook as well. Same things we have here when a subscription is created,
I
deleted,
love it.
or yeah, so
I love
same
it.
thing. We also have like similar, templates for you to start. I think the Stripe templates, you might have even more templates,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
so you have save subscription, you can summary, checkout, and so on. So yeah, essentially same concept. Some things under subscription only users, you can have like a preview where some things are available to free tier, and then paid tier has more things, all based on Firebase authentication or authentication, any authentication actually you use. And then it's at the user's collection level, so it's not like a superficial UI level thing. It's more like a backend driven check.
I love that. And thank you for that as well. That assurance, right? Because I was wondering about that. I was like, ooh, it's in the user collection. Like we're just sort of taking this field and then like, we're doing a lot of toggling of visibility in the UI from this one field in the user collection. So I was like, oh, I wonder how secure or how much like, I don't know. I don't know much about hacking. I wish I did, but like, how much can it be abused? So like this seems like a very good sort of outline of how to set something up to be
Yeah.
secure and efficient. So
Yeah, and I think one thing I can also like say that if you want some kind of things that are not based on UI level things as well, what you can do is you can, I think, do a API call to check the users some kind of level of things, and then also show that based on that. That's another option. But yeah, I think this way you are effectively looking at the users collection, and then that data is being manipulated only by the backend.
yeah, awesome. Amazing. That is all the questions I have. I'm excited. If you want to, I mean, we have like 3 minutes. I saw you post a video about ChatGPT 4.0, I think is what it's called, right? If you want to just showcase that, because I mean, Buildship is utilized for just everything. I think the assistants in the marketplace are amazing, but I was impressed by how fast you guys got a sample out of the new ChatGPT model. So
Yeah, I think that's because we basically use AI to generate these nodes, and anytime some new model launches, within like literally like few minutes after it's available, we can publish a node for it. I think
yeah,
the creation of the video takes longer for us than
yeah,
the actual node creation. So if I go here, let me show some examples. Right, let me just simple hello world. um, I think there is some. Let me just open some other workflow. There's some slight delay. Okay, so let me open this OpenAI, right? There are a bunch
hmm
of nodes here, the text generator one, for example.
yep.
And this is the one we just added the support for with 4.0. And what's happening is my browser suddenly got slow.
It's all good. You have a bunch of tabs open.
I have
So
too many tabs on. Let me get rid of it. Yeah, I tend to have this tend to happen to me where I have just too many
it's
things
okay.
open.
It's not only you. It happens to a lot of people. I'm OCD about it, so I keep them
Yeah.
all shut off. I'm like, nope, I can't have that many.
Yeah. So as I said, like, you can store secrets securely in the secret manager. We have a bunch of things already here. So let me add that. We have some prompts that you can pass in from either from the API call. So here I have a REST API call. It gives you this unique URL that you can use. And you can also like test every node. So if I say, you are a poet, or like write a poem about Buildship and FlutterFlow. Let's see if it what it does. And say you are a poet, and then you can define all these things. But mainly this model we just added literally as a few days
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
And then if you run it, I think it's supposed to be super fast. The first call, I think one thing people ask a question like, hey, it's slow. It's actually because the first call sometimes it has that cold start issues, but then onwards it should be fairly fast. So as you can see, it came up with something.
Oh yeah, that's the greatest one. That's the greatest prompt as well. Just write a poem. When I was testing out like Turbo
Yeah.
3.5 Turbo when it came out, just write a poem about FlutterFlow. It was just like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. It's working.
Yeah. And I think the interesting thing here is like everything, as I said, the code is accessible, right? You can see what's happening behind the
Amazing.
hoods. You can change the inputs, outputs. If you want to add something, make this your own, like you can customize it. And you can use the help of AI to generate stuff so that it's not like you're typing in code.
Yep.
And then you can pass value from one thing to another. So if I were to add like, stability, so we have like a replicate, for example, right? Like image generation.
Yeah.
And then if you want to pass one thing to another, you can essentially do this where previous node can be the prompt for this or something like that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Literally. That's absolutely amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can also like test the entire workflow. So what we are building here is a ability for you to use any AI model and then experiment, test, and build the way a developer would, but in the no code visual way. And then when you ship, you get things deployed somewhere, so you don't have to take care of how do I go and deploy, where it is deployed, which cloud console I need to go and do what, that kind of question. So it's definitely useful for a lot of folks who can think like developer, or no coders who can savvy enough to learn how visually they can build, but then they have that power to
Yep.
make things customize it. Because I feel like a lot of times if you start with some typical no code tools, you get stuck and you cannot expand it, and then what do? You have to like go back to code or try something else. Whereas
Yep.
here we want to give ability to just start from this kind of a no code experience, but you can continue to tweak and make things your own.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Well, thank you so much for being on here and for walking us through that. I think it was fabulous. I think a lot of people will find value in this, and I'm looking forward to implementing it myself. So thank you for just taking the time. I know that
Yeah,
sometimes these
exciting.
things are, I don't know, they're a little less boring than, or they're a little more boring than AI stuff, like payments and, but it's like necessary. It's like, oh, that's like the thing we need,
Yeah,
like most people need to understand this. And there's not a lot of good documentation out there around how to set this stuff up in
yeah,
FlutterFlow or, other no code apps. So thank you.
yeah. I think that definitely this is something every app needs, like subscription payments, figuring that out. AI is obviously cool and nice to show, but the core meaty things are the operational things that you need to take care of. And yeah, thanks for having me here. I enjoyed the chat, and I'm actually looking forward to the course when it's live, and I'll probably take it because definitely can use design-based approach to building apps.
Yes. Yeah, I think it's highly beneficial. And there's definitely like a niche there. I think there's a lot of really great design teachers out there. So it's like, oh, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I can teach it better than those guys. But design related to FlutterFlow, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I can do
Yeah,
that.
you are
So that's sort of right up my alley.
the
Um, so I'm hoping to provide a lot of value. But thank you all so much for joining. Everybody that joined, even all the Twitter people that maybe just viewed it. But we get their numbers. So thank you so much. I hope you all have a wonderful week and a good weekend coming up. May it come quickly to you all.